All right, so these are some of the Apple products that I've purchased over the years. There are more, but this is just, I guess, the more recent. I did have an iPod Touch MP3 player as well. So this iPad is actually mine, but not really. I got it as a gift, so it doesn't really count, but it's mine. Okay, so as you can see back here, there's an inscribing on here that says "Happy Birthday." um, all that good stuff. She got it inscribed. Now, I am not an Apple fanboy at all. I despise Apple. I think their products are retarded. They're overpriced. You don't get any bang for your buck at all. And the user interface is for freaking children. Now, that is what I always thought of Apple, but it never stopped me from purchasing Apple products. I did try them out myself, and mostly because Apple were the hot ticket items, I didn't really buy them for myself, but I got them as gifts. Gifts. So I don't use this iPad at all, but we'll go through it as we go along. I'll tell you kind of my stepping stone into Apple, my thoughts of Apple, and at the end, kind of my overall view, because it does change as I go along. Now, the before all of this, I had the iPod. Yeah, I had the iPod, the first generation big flappy thingies that I probably do still have somewhere. I never really sold it or anything. And then my second Apple product was an iPod Touch. So now I hate Apple because I hate iTunes. I started to despise Apple because of iTunes. Going back even further, back when Macintosh was there, I hated Macintosh because I just didn't like the user interface. I just preferred Windows 95. I just thought that was a better user interface. Even when Windows 3.1, all that was out, I still preferred Windows over Macintosh. I just thought it was a better platform. And that's kind of my bias on things. You know, that may not be the case. I'm going to adjust the microphone here. But for me, that was my bias. I preferred Windows and Android products. Now, as we go along, kind of fast forward through time, I got this. This iPad is actually older than this iPhone 5. Now, the iPhone 5 and the iPhone 6 I actually purchased for my wife. So these aren't something that I bought for myself. My wife is an freaking Apple lover. So again, two sides of of a different coin, really, because my wife loves Apple and I hate Apple. And that's how it's always been throughout the years. So let's move on with this. I don't use this at all. When I got it, I just never used it. It's not pretty. It's not something that I like. Now, this is the iPod second generation. The first generation I just never ended up getting at all because I thought it was retarded. And I still think this one's retarded. Slide to open. And okay. So my wife uses this religiously. I mean, she uses this for everything. Everything there is to use about Apple is like she uses this interface to the maximum extent. My wife had the first iPhone and she worked her way up all the way. I don't know all the iPhone. I'm never really followed iPhone, but I guess 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You know, she had it all. So this is her phone currently, the 6. She does not like the 7 because she uses the headphone jack a lot, and she actually. I'll go through this, but she started phasing out of Apple, especially after the iPhone 6. They kind of really messed up on this one, but so on and so forth. So let's go kind of my history on it. Let's take the phones away. What I use, obviously, right? The Samsung is pretty much Apple's biggest contender. If anything, it's not even a contender because Samsung beats out Apple in every single possible way. But this is my phone. All right, and before this phone, I had a Samsung Galaxy Note 3, Samsung Galaxy Note 2. I've pretty much, and then I had Motorola's before that, the whole Droid and all that phase. But I mean, I always had the hottest ticket items. So Samsung recently has been the hottest ticket item lately. So I mean, this was a present. I don't really purchase too much for myself. It's December. I have a lot of presents this year. So, and it's coupled with my birthday. So December, I get a lot of new techs and a lot of stuff to review, and I just wanted to do this to kind of give you my impressions of my impressions of Apple in general. So and stay tuned because my impressions change, right? Especially within the past month. So again, this is my phone, and I really don't understand what the Apple iPhone 7 why they took away the headphone jack. That's the stupidest thing you could do in the world. Are you retarded, Apple? I mean, the whole point of a phone is for you to double as a music player. And without a headphone jack, you're screwed and you have to use that lightning bullshit. On top of that, if you use Bluetooth headphones, which the CEO of Apple now is like saying that's the way of the future, what happens when you run out of battery? You can never hardwire something in the phone. They say a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack is out of date. Well, shoot, it's the only, headphone jack that 90% of the freaking world is using. What the hell? So again, a freaking retarded move by Apple to take away that headphone jack. The biggest reason why you don't see an iPhone 7 here, because there's no headphone jack. And the iPhone 6 for my wife, she hates it. She thinks this is a step backwards. She loved the iPhone 5. She loved the iPhone 4, 3S, all that. She hates the 6. The touch interface for this thing, she said, is really crappy. That's me and my wife, by the way. But she says it's really crappy. She always makes mistakes in the little texting department. It's not because the phone is small, because the iPhone 5 or 5S or 5 or whatever the hell this iPhone is, which I don't really give a rat's donkey's butt about it, but oh no, this is the iPhone 6 case. So the iPhone 5. Oops. Oh crap. All right. The iPhone 5, she loved this phone. She loved it to death. As much as you could, Apple's not known for multitasking, but when you see my wife with this phone, man, she does everything you could possibly do. She freaking screenshots this and posts it there, and then she saves that and posts it there. And she has like 5 things going on at once. I'm so surprised that an iOS could do that. But again, she uses it to her full extent. She hates this iPhone 6. Absolutely hates it. It loses out. The iPhone 7 loses out to the S7 Edge in all aspects anyways. Clearly for one reason. One, it's using the standard USB, micro USB slot. And this right here. You see that? You see that, Apple? You got rid of this. One of the most important things, in my opinion. So, again, and water resistance, please, this thing could go underwater and you could still use it underwater without any protective cases. So, again, not a wise decision that Apple's going forth. Because after Steve Jobs kind of passed away, Apple's been going downhill. That's my opinion. But let's move on with it. So that's my phone. Now let's go to tablets. Yes, I don't use this piece of crap, but my wife uses this to all hell. And she uses it well. As you can see, this tape right here is the only thing holding it onto the hinge. Everything's falling apart. This is how long my wife had it and how much she uses it. Alright? She treats this thing like a freaking coaster. She throws it, sits on it, she falls asleep and she rolls over it for the full day. She drops it multiple times daily, and this thing's held up. So, one thing, Apple products, it is freaking tough. I'm not so sure about the 6 because I've seen it bending. But the 5, she dropped that phone the day I gave it to her. We were at the airport, and she drops it. And she goes, it's an iPhone, it'll survive. So, again, that's something that I do have to give credit where credit is due. Apple, you have fantastic kind of durability from what I could see. Okay, your new products, I don't know. But from what I could tell, what I experienced, it's good. So, tablets. I don't use the iPad. I use this. I use an Acer Switch 10. I think it's a much better platform because it's Windows. Now, it comes with Windows 8, but I had that free little Windows 10 BS thing going on there. The biggest mistake I probably made is changing everything that's Windows 7 to Windows 10 because Windows 7 was so much better in my opinion. But Windows 10 still works. And my computer situation in general, you see what this is being recorded on. This is my custom built computer that I've always built custom pretty much every few years to have the best whatever there is. I gotta stop knocking on this, but it's an i7 overclocked to 5 gigahertz, water cooled with all the graphics BS and the highest RAM and SSD and all this stuff that I built a few years ago, and it's still top of the line right now, thankfully. Now it is a generation past its time, but it can keep up with the best of them. And that's my main thing. Ever since I was young, I always built my own PC. Back when it was 486, I built my own 486. I overclocked it, and then I installed Windows 95 on it. So I've been a PC fanboy my whole life. Okay, and I guess there's a lot of bias here because I never really liked Apple's products. Take a quick vape here. But this, now you may think, hey, it's not as thin, but it detaches. So it is. It's freaking thin for what it is. And for what you're getting, it's so much better. And get this, you have a USB port. Connectivity on other devices is just fantastic. Connectivity on Apple was always shitty. I hate iTunes. I hate how you sync your bullshit. And you can't find your music. I love having things in a folder and then clicking that folder, like my top, I guess, R&B songs. Click and pick through that. I don't like that whole Apple system. It's just BS. Now, if you look at the screens, obviously this screen is just so much better in every single way possible. Let me unlock this. All right. This screen is much more clear, higher resolution. It feels better. It looks better. Just look at that. That is just so pretty. All right, and it's really thin for what it is. It's not as thin as the iPad, but honestly, I prefer this tablet over this iPad any freaking day, ever. So that's my solution to tablets and whatnot. Again, this isn't really a review video. I do have a lot of freaking tech and toys because I love my toys. But we went over kind of the whole Apple thing, right? The phone, the MP3 player, what they're known for, which I did. I had the iPhone, the iPod Touch, and that was fantastic. But I thought it was really retarded when the iPhone came out because it was an iPhone. It was what was that? The iTouch, I guess, and the iPod Touch. Yeah, it was the iPod Touch with the phone function. That was all it was. I thought it was retarded. So I never hyped up. I was never hyped of getting an iPhone, which I should have, but I was never. And here's why. So just recently, I went to go get some recording software, and I'm so used to Adobe Premiere Pro that I decided to go buy it again. Why the hell not, right? Spend a couple $100. And you can't buy it anymore. It's a subscription. Adobe, you fact up, okay? FACK up. Why would you make it a subscription? Okay, if I use that product every day and I use it as a professional, fine. But what about the regular consumers, like people like me? Come on. Let me buy it for an extremely overpriced, price and be done with it. I don't want to pay a monthly subscription. It's not a car. I pay monthly payments on my car. Are you kidding me? So I was really disappointed about that. And again, Microsoft Word, you're pretty much the same, but at least you give the option to buy. I do pay a monthly subscription for Microsoft Word, and I think it's retarded, but I pay that all up in one time per year. So again, I pay it once, I get butthurt, and I just don't think about it. Anyways, so I said, you know what, screw it. The MacBook Pro I heard was great for video editing, and it comes with this free software, the iMovie. And I was like, okay. So I was thinking, I don't want to spend that much money on it. And I started looking at used MacBook Pros. My freaking god, they were expensive. Are you kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me? So, anyways, I pulled the trigger on one. It was a 2012 model. I was on the fence between 2012 2015, and there's no way in hell I'm gonna get the new Apple MacBook Pro, and I'll get into that in a second. But I ended up getting 2012. I saved 100 to 200 bucks, which I could have shelled out 200 more bucks, but this was already so expensive the way it is that I was like, screw it. I'm just gonna get the 2012 because it has everything I want: the i5, the 8 GB of RAM, and all that BS, all that jazz. And it actually, I got this, a little bit more than a week ago, and I freaking think that this thing is badass. Now, yes, someone that despises Apple, despises them, loves an Apple product. This is my first Apple out of many, 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 many Apple products that I thought was good. It's good. It's just good. I can't explain it. Even if this is the 2012 model, it makes you feel freaking special. Now, there's things that I like to buy that's not worth the money that make you feel special. All right? That's a $400 or $450 wallet. It just makes me feel special. Is it special in any way? No. It's Mont Blanc, but whatever. I have a Prada wallet. My watches, again, same. It just makes me feel special. I gotta clean out my nails. But anyways, so I buy those things that make me feel special. And this Apple, for some freaking reason, as much as I hated apples, made me feel special. Okay. Now, that is it. I'm probably not going to turn it on. Why the hell not? It makes me feel special. All right. Just how it starts. The bang. I just feel special. This is a fantastic product. Now, feeling special aside, aesthetically, it's freaking pretty. Like I said, I always thought Apple made aesthetically pretty things. Hardware for me, Apple was always behind the times. Now, a lot of Apple fanboys would be like, no, it's not. Apple's the best you could get. That's why it costs so much. That's BS, guys. Apple has always been behind the times. It's never put the best of the best in there. If you build custom PCs, you'll know that. But this one, although it doesn't have the best hardware, it is freaking fantastic. I love the user interface. I mean, it's somewhat like the iPhones and the iPads, but it's not, because it's more customizable in my opinion. It's just right. What reminds me of the iOS on the iPads is that it feels like back in the days, Fisher Price, back in the days when computers were several $1,000s, and they had those little toys for kids, little 5 to 7 year olds. It's a computer and you press a button and it goes hello. That's what an iPad reminds me of. Something that's meant for little kids. Now, don't get me wrong, it's plenty capable. I see my wife do freaking wonders with it. But in my opinion, from what I see, I don't like it. Right? This little device, this MacBook Pro, is kind of has that simplicity of an iPad, but it doesn't make you feel like you're a freaking 7-year-old little boy. This actually is a grown-up computer. So, again, I'm a little late, behind the times, but I did get this MacBook Pro, and I've tested it, and I freaking love it. Love it. I mean, love it. Is it ever going to replace my PC? Hell no, right? My PC is the all-time favorite, right? And the thing about notebooks is what I have notebook-wise is this Samsung notebook with SSD, i5, and the whole works, the dedicated graphics card. This notebook outperforms this MacBook in spades. And it has a bigger screen, a clearer screen. It's more beautiful. It's everything a MacBook wishes it wants to be. But at the end of the day, what do I use more? Well, this is new to me, so I'm going to say I use this more. But I would still choose the MacBook Pro just because of its simplicity. Now, with that being said, it's the first time I ever picked an Apple product over a PC product. Now, this video is going to be kind of long. But again, it's my take on Apple because, I could talk about Apple and how much I hate it for days. So we'll try to limit it to like 25, 30 minutes. But this was the best, right? And 2015, it did get better because it got thinner, but it lost the CD, which most people don't use, but I do, because I could still pop in CDs. But moreover, it was just a good product, and it is a good product. So I'm using it now, and it's a fantastic product. It's good. It's decently quick for what it is. It has these little backlit keyboards that look so beautiful. It's just elegant. The trackpad is actually one of the best I've seen in notebooks, which doesn't really matter because I use one of these anyways. And thankfully, MacBook Pro is backwards compatible with a lot of PC stuff out there. What I noticed though is installing software on a Mac is so much easier than installing software on a PC. It's just less to go wrong with. That's cool. I know Windows 10 jacked up my Pro Tools First. It doesn't work, but Pro Tools First works on this. Now I was contemplating on selling this and getting the 2015 model, but again, I don't need it. This is fine. I have so many freaking tech and toys already. There's really no point in upgrading that. So because I love that MacBook Pro so much, and this is kind of the trend, right? This is why they hand out free samples, right? Because I love this MacBook Pro so much, I really started looking into getting the new MacBook Pro. And if I get a new device, I'm going to max it out, right? I mean, screw it. Spend $3-4 grand, right? I mean, I make that over a long period of time. So I was going to do it. I was going to put the trigger. I went to the Apple store and I was checking it out. And I was like, wait a minute. Where's all the ports that I freaking love so much? The SD card port. Now, don't get me wrong. Samsung is no slouch. Samsung also has the SD card port as well. All right. So, I mean, that's probably one of the most important things a notebook could have. The whole point of a notebook is to be portable, right? So you need an SD card port. SD card's like the universal memory card of the world, you know? So, I'm actually peaking on my voices when I yell. Anyways, so no SD card port, no USB ports. Are you stupid, Apple? I mean, this is the return of the iPhone 7. No USB ports, no FireWire ports, no display ports. I mean, it has that Thunder port, but it's like the 3.0. It's a USB-C port. There's no separate Thunder port that's backwards compatible with DisplayPort like the MacBook Pros have. And if you have the 2015 model of the MacBook Pro, you also have the HDMI output that you don't get on the 2016 model. I don't understand that, Apple. Really? I mean, USB-C, yeah, it could be the future, but shoot, I'm the type of guy that still likes CD-ROMs. So, with that being said, I thought the new MacBook Pro was a huge leap backwards. I thought it was the stupidest thing Apple could do. I didn't think Apple could top the whole no headphone port in the iPhone 7, but they did with the MacBook Pro. They not only got rid of the SD card port, but they got rid of the USB port. And then the biggest thing is Apple was known for their magnetic charge BS, don't trip, safe charging cable. You got rid of that too. No, you're retarded. That was just plain stupid. I mean, the reason why I love this MacBook Pro so much is really a couple, the SD card, but I have it in my other notebook. I mean, the biggest thing is the OS. I thought the OS was a little bit more complex than the iPad, right? So it wasn't too dumbed down. And the charging port, I thought that was ingenious. I mean, the magnetic charging port is just fantastic. And it's been proven. It's been used for years and years and years. And you decided to take the special out of MacBook Pro. Now, I know the new one's thinner, lighter, more retarded. Okay, so let's end it there. That's my spew. If you're in the market for a MacBook Pro, get the 2015 to 2012 to 2015 model. That's just those are the best ones. Starting from 2013, they model changed it up to another thinner one, but again, you lose the CD-ROM on those models. So again, up to you. I mean, you could whatever you benefit from. I think the HD 4000 graphics card is just perfectly fine, especially when you're doing light video editing. But if you need that Iris, the HD 5000 video card, which is pretty much a minuscule in difference, in my opinion, then go for the 2015. Like I said, Apple has always been, behind the times, right? And there are dedicated graphics cards for Apple, but I mean, it's the price is just crazy. I mean, it's stupid crazy. So again, that's my spew on MacBook. I just became a MacBook Pro fan, not really an iPad or an iPhone fan. But as soon as I became a fan, you jacked it up. So please bring back the old MacBook Pro. It doesn't have to be thin. It just has to work. And that's about it, guys. Thank you for watching.